Let's go to Lowe's.
Let's
okay?
do that. Thank you.
Now, Lowe's, interesting, Lowe's up very big off of Home Depot. Lowe's is do-it-yourself. And the do-it-yourself person.
Ever wonder why your budget keeps failing? No matter how hard you try, you're not alone. 90% of budgeting advice is built to fail you, not save you. Behind the spreadsheets and money, saving tips lies a trap that keeps most people stuck in financial stress. If you don't know what it is, you're already falling behind. Don't miss this breakdown. It could change everything. Generic advice, most budgeting advice out there, sounds like a broken record. Track your expenses, cut out coffee, use the 50-30-20 rule. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. This advice doesn't work for everyone. Why? Because it's generic advice made for the masses, not tailored to your life. Think about it. A single mom with 2 kids and a freelancer living paycheck to paycheck can't budget the same way as someone with a steady 9-to-5 job and no dependents. Yet, they're being told to follow the exact same tips. The internet is flooded with blanket solutions that ignore real-life complexity. These tips often come from financial gurus who are already rich. They forgot what it feels like to choose between rent and groceries. And when their advice fails, people blame themselves, thinking, I must be bad with money. But that's not true. The system just wasn't built for you. Another problem. Most budgeting tips don't consider psychology. Money isn't just math, it's emotional. Stress, guilt, fear, even childhood trauma all shape how we handle money. But generic advice skips all that. It's like giving someone a gym routine without asking if they're injured. If budgeting advice doesn't start with your real situation, habits, and mindset, it's doomed to fail. The first step to fixing your finances is to stop following advice that wasn't designed for you in the first place. Next step. Start questioning every tip that doesn't fit your life, and replace it with one that actually does. Emotional spending, let's face it, we don't always spend money logically. You're not buying that new gadget or late-night takeout because you need it, you're buying it because it makes you feel better. That's emotional spending, and it's the silent killer of most budgets. Stress, boredom, loneliness, even happiness, all of these emotions can trigger spending sprees. And guess what? Most budgeting advice completely ignores this. You can have the most detailed spreadsheet in the world, but if your emotions are in control, your budget will always break. Think about the last time you bought something unnecessary. Were you upset after a bad day? Or celebrating something? That emotional high, that quick hit of dopamine, makes us feel good temporarily. But the guilt and regret come soon after, especially when the credit card bill arrives. The worst part, many people blame themselves instead of the underlying triggers. They think, I have no discipline, when the real problem is emotional buildup. You can't fix that with a calculator. So, what's the solution? Start tracking your emotional state, not just your expenses. When you feel the urge to spend, pause and ask, what am I really feeling right now? Create space between emotion and action. Some people even use a cool-off period. They wait 24 hours before making any non-essential purchase. That simple delay helps emotions settle. Remember, fixing your budget isn't just about controlling money. It's about understanding yourself. Until you deal with emotional spending, no budget plan will truly stick. One size problem, here's the big lie in personal finance. One size fits all. Budgeting advice often comes wrapped in neat formulas like the 50-30-20 rule or fixed monthly categories: rent, food, savings, entertainment. But life isn't that simple. The truth is, your needs, income, and expenses are constantly shifting. What works for one person might completely collapse for another. That's the one size problem, and it's wrecking your finances. Imagine telling a college student and a retired couple to follow the same budget, or asking someone in a high-rent city to live on the same food budget as someone in a rural town. Sounds ridiculous, right? Yet this is exactly what many popular budgeting apps and influencers suggest. Their advice assumes everyone lives the same life, with the same priorities and income flow. But your budget should reflect your reality, not someone else's ideal. Even worse, some people force themselves to stick to these rigid plans. They cut out every joy, no meals out, no small treats, and end up burning out. That leads to frustration, overspending, and eventually quitting the budget altogether. It's like wearing shoes that don't fit. Sure, you can walk in them for a while, but eventually you'll trip. Instead of squeezing into someone else's budget, build one around your unique circumstances. Customize your plan. Create flexible categories that adjust with your life, not against it. Because real budgeting success doesn't come from fitting in. It comes from designing a system that fits you. No flexibility, one of the biggest reasons budgets fail. They're too strict. When a budget doesn't bend, it breaks, and that's exactly what happens with most plans. People try to control every single rupee, assigning rigid amounts to every category with no room for error. But life isn't predictable. Emergencies happen, invitations pop up, prices rise. And if your budget has no flexibility, even the smallest surprise can destroy it. Think about it. Have you ever created a budget that looked perfect on paper, but then a medical bill or unexpected car repair threw everything off? Suddenly, you're dipping into savings or racking up credit card debt just to stay afloat. Then comes the guilt. You feel like a failure, when in reality, the problem wasn't you, it was your inflexible plan. A good budget isn't about controlling every detail. It's about preparing for the unpredictable. That's why financial experts recommend buffer zones. Small amounts of unassigned money each month for life's curveballs. These, just in case, funds are what keep your entire plan from collapsing the moment reality kicks in. And it's not just emergencies. What if your goals shift? What if your income changes? A rigid plan can't keep up with a dynamic life. But a flexible one can evolve with you, keeping you on track even when things go sideways. So stop aiming for perfection. Start building adaptability into your budget. Because true financial control isn't about restriction, it's about resilience. Real solutions. So if generic tips, emotional blind spots, one-size-fits-all rules and rigid plans don't work, what does? The answer lies in real solutions, personalized, flexible, and rooted in your actual life. It's time to stop copying templates from influencers and start building a budgeting system that understands you. First, start with awareness, not rules. Track your spending for 30 days without judgment. Just observe. Where's your money actually going? What are your emotional triggers? This clarity alone can transform your mindset. You can't change what you don't understand. Next, create a value-based budget. Instead of cutting randomly, spend more on what truly matters to you and less on what doesn't. If travel lights you up, prioritize it. If eating out drains your income without real joy, cut there. Aligning your spending with your values gives you a sense of purpose, not punishment. Also, ditch the idea of budgeting as a one-time task. It's a living system, not a fixed document. Set weekly or bi-weekly reviews. Adjust when income or goals shift. Add buffer zones. Allow space for joy, growth, and unexpected changes. Flexibility isn't weakness, it's your budget survival gear. And most importantly, automate what you can. Savings transfers, bill payments, debt repayments. Automation removes willpower from the equation, and willpower, as we know, is unreliable. When you stop chasing perfect advice and start building your own rhythm, that's when budgeting finally works. So now you know. It's not you, it's the broken advice you've been following. Ditch the one-size-fits-all rules and start building a budget that actually fits your life. If this video helped shift your mindset, smash that subscribe button and join our mission to break financial myths. Here's a question for you. What's the one budgeting tip that never worked for you, and why? Drop your answer in the comments! And don't miss our next video. How governments print money and make you poor. Coming soon!